Tôi tin anh trả sợ đờ Kia cú bí ý tu dở Bí thật dở phong dư trộn này nở Cú hô lý ca chạy hô liên tở Ta xuống vấn đề của họ
It's not really a big deal for me if you don't. This is all of whatever we teach or whatever you learn today. Just keep it for you in your own head. And if it works, use it. If it doesn't work, then move on to something else. That's usually how I look at it. So with that being said, what I always do before I squat, as these guys already know, is always stretch. You know, make sure I foam roll real deep and really hit like 135 plenty of times, or just the bar even, just to make sure like my body feels good. So like what James was doing earlier, which was great. Was it your nephew, right?
Yep.
So he was teaching his nephew how to squat, right? Just using that seat. And that's usually what I tell people. If you have a hard time keeping your technique like this, without the bar or any weight, what's the point of putting a bar on? If you can't even like, you know, look pretty decent when you do it, if you're already squatting just kind of like this, you know, it's like, all right, we need to work on that first, you know, just really working on that form before we even add the bar, you know. So for me, I've always found out like technique-wise, it's always best in the middle. So if you kind of watch, this is a little bit wider than my shoulders, and I'm pointing my feet out just a little bit. You know, a lot of people say you need to squat with your feet point forward. I say do what's comfortable. I feel like I'm gonna rock forward when my feet are forward. So I turn it out just a little bit. And this kind of helps me do this. Every time I squat, I'm almost trying to split. My stance is tight and strong. So even just my feet positioning, I'm not just standing with weight and doing this. You see how it's almost like a spring? So it's like everything I'm doing is almost like I'm, like, you know, in Mario, back in the day where you're like coming down here, you're charging for like a super jump. That's pretty much what I'm doing. So feet positioning is always medium. You know, if you feel a little bit comfortable going wide, I've always noticed like if I go wide, I put a lot of pressure here in my hips. You can kind of already tell. And then too close, like right here, about shoulder width, just feels like I'm not getting enough power. So my thing is always medium. Same thing with the grip. Medium grip is always best.
You know, where bodybuilders come in, it's instead of more of like a spring movement, it's more controlled. Feet positioning differs depending on what body part you want to work on. You know, of course, if you want to work on your quads, you're going to keep your feet a little bit inwards. If you want to work more on your inner thighs and hamstrings and glutes, your feet is going to be outward and your toes are going to be pointed outward. It's just going to be kind of the difference on kind of the angle of pull and what muscle groups you want to use or focus on. Because I do come from a bodybuilding background, like I have done like both. I've just found that doing it kind of wider kind of allows me to go a little bit heavier, and that's just something that I enjoy doing, is just lifting heavy weights. So then I don't mess around with too much with the narrow grip, you know, unless I'm doing like an isolation movement, something like a leg press or something like that. But for my squats, I tend to keep it pretty wide. I also find that's the most comfortable for me. I mean, I have short legs though, so everybody's different.
I almost have like a checklist that I like to do with my entire body. You know, so everything starts from your feet. So if your feet is where everything's set, right? You'll notice the first thing I do is set my feet, make sure my hips are in, squeeze my glutes, stand straight up, right? Once I'm straight up like this, once it feels good, you know, like I usually count my breaths. Once the good one feels good, I'll take a huge breath and I'll squeeze my abs. So it's almost like, you know, for MMA training, like I said, like somebody's gonna jab my stomach like super hard, right? But the goal is to make sure that your core is so tight that it ain't gonna hurt. So you wanna kind of apply that to your squat if you're going for maximum power, because, you know, imagine if you have like a truck that's on top of you, right? You're not just gonna be like, all right, let's work out my quads and lift this up, you know? You're gonna be like, look, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna lift this with everything I got, right? So you kind of wanna put yourself in situations where you're almost putting your life on the line, you know, because that's kind of, you know, what we're aiming for, to be as strong as we possibly can, you know, while not getting hurt. So take a huge breath, squeeze my abs. Once I squeeze my abs, right, I slowly almost kind of like crunch everything else together, and I try to split the ground. Right when I feel all that happen, when I come down, I'm keeping my knees out the whole time. I'm not bringing it in. I'm trying to keep it out this entire time. Once I hit that sweet spot, usually, you know, you kind of want to focus on, for me, is to hit hips right below the top of the knee, right? Once you hit there, like I said, your entire legs, body, chest, back, everything is still super tight. And the thing that you kind of want to focus on is that bounce. Right when you hit here, you want to shoot your hips up and just really, boom, squeeze your glutes right at the top. So pain right here.
Yeah.
So I put this right where that pain is at, and I just mash into it. So pretty much it's like, you can imagine like this muscle is super stiff, right? Super tight. So whenever you try to move it like this, it's full range of motion, right? If it's too stiff, it's not gonna like this part of the squat. Because when you're standing straight up, you're stretching it to the longest part, right? Full range of motion. But when you come down like this, you're shortening it. So it might not feel too bad here, but you're definitely gonna feel something when you do one of the movements that gets you out of that position. So all you do is rub it out like this for me. So pretty much I'm going in and I'm just rubbing out all the tight muscle fibers. And once it loosens up, then I slowly move on all the way down to about right here where my knee's at. Roll in, all the way out, and roll out. So if it hurts, that's usually the spot that you kind of want to spend more time.
You know, one stretch I learned from one of your video games is this stretch right here for the front hips. So you're going like this. And you use this leg to kind of push this leg back.
Yeah.
And pull it, and it'll pull this. So if you try that, that's been working for me when I was having like hip issues when I was deadlifting. So if you just pull it like that, you can really hit that hip right here because you're pulling this back. So try that.
Extremely hurt. You know, a band usually works best, but I just use a knee wrap because I don't have money to buy a band. So let's say you want to do your left leg first. So usually for me, I usually put it like right below your glute or your pretty much your butt cheek, right? And all you really want to do is pull back a little bit with some tension, right? Once you have a little bit of tension, you just do it like you're stretching. So once it pulls out, you want to come back down and just really stretch. So if you knock your hip, you have to take a step back until you feel it kind of pull on you. And then right when you feel that, put that knee on the ground. Okay? Bring that knee out a little bit more. And then you just want to bend your knee forward. Can you feel it kind of stretching it out a little bit more? Yeah. If you need a bigger stretch, just move back a little bit more. Or like for me, the reason why I don't really recommend this is because I feel like it might overstretch it. But if you just feel the need to, you can just raise your leg a little bit like this, and it'll stretch a little bit more. But you know, different people's gonna have different flexibility. I feel like when I raise my leg up, I'm stretching it too much. Because whenever you stretch your muscles, you never want to overdo anything. You just want to, like for me, stretching is just making sure your muscles can move full range of motion without it hurting. If you stretch any more than that, and it can go kind of a little bit further than what you want it to go, in my opinion, I think that could be kind of dangerous. Yeah. So that's how I know how to think.
And I tried to do the thing, but we're just. I think I might go for 4 plates later.
Go for it, baby. We'll see how this one plate feels like if I get pain.
You're not gonna stop like this, but you know that's debatable still.
Well, as far as your squats.
It sits on top of my knee, on my toes. So most of the time when you squat, you're gonna end up doing this a little bit more, right? Which is fine if you're, if that's the way you like, but if you watch, when I have it down here, where my rear delts are, right? Look where it hits when I squat down. It's more back here, right? Where my hips are at, where my heels. This is where all the power is coming from. Back here, right? Where your heels are at, right here. You're not gonna squat like this, you know? You're gonna squat on your heels, but this is where you get the most balance. So if you already have the bar a little bit lower in your back, when you come down, everything is just going to be more balanced. You don't have to worry about this. You can just let it sit there. Just keep your chest up. That's why I
intact. You know what I mean? Instead of like, you can go high bar, just kind of leave.
Yeah, if you watch me too, if you watch me, my back is still kind of loose. I like to do a double hitch, I guess you could say, to re-tighten my back before I go. So right now it's loose. I'll do like one of these and I'll go
Yeah, you see that?
Boom! You see the difference between this and that? Like I said, if you got 600 pounds on, you need your body to be ready for that.
So like James said, when you're squatting, especially powerlifting, it's just not a leg workout, it's a full body, right? Like you said, you get the James, okay? You see the whole body. That's he's engaging his back, making it tight. And that's just to make it for his whole entire back. Lower back issues and everything. But just tighten that up.
Let's go. Hey, James.
That's right. Let's get it. It's easy. Hey, I hit it. Let's go.
Come on, Payne.
Up.
Oh, yeah. Come on.
Easy. Let's go.
Breathe out.
Breathe out. Come on.
Make it real tight. Easy way, easy way. Killing it. Come on. 5. Nice. Oh, let's go. Let's go. Hypertrophy. Let's go. Breathe out. Easy. Breathe out. Nice. Come on.
Nice.
Come on. Whoa, nice and easy.
Glutes, glutes. There you go. Come on.
Glutes. Beautiful.
There you go. Nice.
Yeah. Come on.
Come on.
Lightweight. 10 reps right here. Let's go.
Easy. Let's go. Blow up.
Tight, 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 tight.
Good.
Nice.
Let's get hitting this. Too easy.
Stay tight. Everything's the same. Nice. Let's go.
Way better.
Nice.
That's easy. Come on. Big air. Blow it up. Easy. There you go. Let's go. Come on. Up, up.
Oh yeah. Come on. Let's go, baby. Come on. Let's go. Stay tight.
Up, up.
Up, 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 up.
Let's go.
Nice. Squat at 700. Let's go.
Right back here. Let's go. Let's go. You got it. Saddle. Big air. Up, up, up. Easy. Up, up. Easy. Let's go. There you go. Everyday thing. Let's go. Everyday thing. Let's go. Up. Let's go. Let's go. One more. Come on. Let's go. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Up, 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 up. Beautiful. Easy. Hit it. And let's go. Last set. Let's
Just
make it
because.
count. Woo. Let's make it count.
Let's go, baby. Don't rush the weight.
High school weight. High school weight.
Let's go, baby. Don't rush the weight.
Make it count. Come on.
Set, set. There you go. Come on.
Beautiful. Let's
Come
go.
on, Payne.
Up.
Nice. Come on, Payne.
Easy. Let's go. Up.
Stay tight.
No. Let's go.
Come on.
It's too easy. Up, up, up.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Rush nothing.
Let's go.
Come on, James. Don't rush it. There you go. Like this. Set, set, set.
Go, baby.
All right. Get it up, James. Oh, yeah. Let's go. Nice. Come on. Come on, James. Stay tight. Get it up. Up, up, up. Come on. Come on. Come on, man. Let's go. Work, baby. Woo. Let's get it.
Easy, come on! Up, yeah! Come on! Let's go! Easy, come on! Up, 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 up! Easy! Let's get it, baby! Get it, let's go! Hold on! Up, 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 up!
So that's it, guys. Just got done with the squat day, and I appreciate everybody who showed up. And really thanks to James's brother, for letting us use that gym, using AMA as the humble beginnings of Lost Breed Gym one day. And we're hoping to do this once a month, so stay tuned. Next month we're probably gonna try to get in a bench workout. So keep. If you like what you see, if you like what's going on, continue to support. And, if you're interested in, any of the sports that we do or the classes that we teach, then just stay tuned, and we'll kind of release the next date and the next kind of topic that we're going to talk about. So thank you.